And that which came thereafter, where the two spirits bound by common agony would journey together, would also seem but a single point of intersection in their all too long, gradually diverging lives. I've said this before multiple times and I will say this again. Whoever really needs to stop putting such mind-blowing lore in the most random in-game items. We've seen this countless times by now. Gemstones, books, wind gliders, all of them carry so much lore, sometimes even way more than Archon quests. Even among the wind gliders, the special collaboration wind gliders are the ones which seem to drop the most insane lore about the twins. And this particular excerpt I read before is also from one such special wind glider, the new Xbox wings, the wings of fate's course intertwined. It was from afar that he glimpsed that head of golden hair when the great king announced the successor to the throne. Starting off, the very first line of the wings description just straight up reveals a massive lore bump that the Abyss twin was supposedly the successor to the throne of Khaenri'ah. This makes Clothar Alberic's dialogue seem even more clearer and also finally reveals how the Abyss twin became the princess of Khaenri'ah. But the question is, why? Why is somebody who is not even a native of Khaenri'ah the successor to its throne? Reading on the next lines, we can understand that this part of the description was written in Dainsleif's perspective, who was still an ordinary young knight at the time of this anointment. So far, we have known that the twins have been traveling from world to world and that their home planet had been destroyed. Now, the Xbox wings revealed to us that the Abyss twin was not just a mere inhabitant of that particular home planet, but was in fact the entire ruler of that world, the descendant of a long-lost, glorious kingdom. Having spent a brief amount of her life in Khaenri'ah, she sensed the goodwill of those who lived there and went from being the ruler of a world to being the hope of a single nation. Now, the twins being rulers of a world, scions of a lost glorious kingdom, makes me wonder if the Battle Pass cutscene, which we kinda thought wasn't about the siblings, is actually about them. What if Lumine is the crowned heir of the glorious kingdom in the heavens, tasked with finding the Genesis Pearl from the kingdom of darkness? This makes sense because later on in the Xbox Wings description, it is stated that the last Winster King led the golden-haired royal heir down into the deepest, darkest depths of the kingdom to become a vessel to absorb unlimited abyssal power and become key to near annihilation of the world. Similarly, the first crowned heir on her journey to seek the Genesis Pearl was said to have been deceived, along with memory of her noble origins having faded, and now believing that she was the Queen of Darkness. If you really think about it, this Battle Pass cutscene could be enacting this exact scene. The king here could be the last Winster King, King Ermin, sending the first crowned heir, who could be Lumine, to seek the Genesis Pearl, which here could be referring to becoming a vessel for the Abyss. Now, something very confusing is that in the Xbox Wings, it is said that Lumine's fate of becoming a vessel for the Abyss was key to the world's near annihilation, which I am assuming is referring to the Cataclysm. But in the 1.6 Archon quest, Lumine herself says that Dainsleif failed to prevent the destruction of Khaenri'ah. This has been said by Dainsleif himself multiple times, and recently even Capitano says so along the lines, similar to how they failed to prevent the destruction of Khaenri'ah. But if Lumine caused the cataclysm, then how is Dainsleif responsible? Is it because they failed to see that their king had been corrupted by the Abyss and couldn't do anything to stop him? Or was it because they failed to stop Lumine from triggering the Khaenri'ah destruction? Or maybe Dainsleif is to blame for Khaenri'ah's destruction because he failed to save Lumine from becoming a vessel for the Abyss. The reason for thinking like this comes from Dainsleif's character introduction card, where it is written, "Dain, what is that strand of blonde hair to you? Someone you must kill, or the object of your penitence?"
But since Dane wasn't actually acquainted with Lumine at the time of her being a vessel for the Abyss, these lines might not be referring to what happened back then. This could be referring to how after Lumine joined the Abyss Order, she is either Dane's enemy or somebody that Dane regrets not having saved from the Abyss. This could also hint that just like how the crowned heir in the Battle Pass cutscene got deceived into thinking she was the Queen of Darkness, Lumine, who became a vessel for the Abyss, probably thinks according to how the Abyss wants her to. This could be why, even though she was key to causing the cataclysm, she blames Dane and aims to go against the heavenly principles, purely because that's what the Abyss wants. The description in Dane's character card is said to be the words of a self-proclaimed prophet. Now the answer to who this prophet is also lies in the Xbox wings. According to its description, it is said that Weatherfalner, Dainsleif's older brother, was blinded in both eyes and imprisoned for giving an oracle. For him to be punished in such a way for merely giving out a prophecy hints that this prophecy probably predicted the ruin of Khaenri'ah. Quite possibly related to how the very same forbidden knowledge that is being used to advance Khaenri'ah civilization might end up spelling disaster as well. It would only make sense such a fate would befall Weatherfalner when he spoke against the Abyss, which was currently being used as Khaenri'ah's biggest source of technology. Now, when you get abandoned by your own nation in such a way, I can see why Weatherfalner also finally ended up with the Abyss. Now, if you remember, in the 5.1 Archon quest, we were introduced to a new name, Mark of Gosoitoth. This name Gosoitoth was speculated to be an anagram for Yog-Sothoth, who is an outer god in Cthulhu mythos and also a character in Gun Girl Z, a previous Hoyoverse game. Yog-Sothoth of the Cthulhu mythos was yet another fictional deity created by H.P. Lovecraft along with other outer gods like Yig and Azathoth. Now interestingly, in H.P. Lovecraft's books, there is an underground realm named Khaenri'ah, which is eerily similar to Genshin's Khaenri'ah, and the people living there were immortals called Khaenri'ahs, similar to Khaenri'ahs. These Khaenri'ahs were said to have worshipped the outer gods like Azathoth, Cthulhu and Yig, and interestingly it is also said that these Khaenri'ahs were brought across space from an Earth-like planet into Khaenri'ah by Cthulhu. Now, as we all know, the humans of Teyvat were created by the Primordial One, which means that the Khaenri'ahs too were essentially made by the Primordial One itself. But reading H.P. Lovecraft's work makes me wonder, what if the humans on Teyvat weren't actually created by the Primordial One, but instead brought across space from another planet, just like how Cthulhu brought the Khaenri'ahs across space from the Earth-like planet? What if this was done by the Primordial One to save the humans of its planet, because it too got destroyed, just similar to how the twins lost their home planet? Or what if the Primordial One's home planet is the same as that of the twins? That would explain why the twins have so much affinity to Teyvat's elements. That would also explain why Lumine was made the successor to the throne of Khaenri'ah, because the Khaenri'ahs are essentially the very same people she ruled over back in her home planet. This could also bring up the possibility that the twins' home planet, which could also be the planet from which the Primordial One comes from, might have been destroyed by the Abyss itself. This could be the reason why the Heavenly Principles destroyed Khaenri'ah once it started to dabble with abyssal powers in its technology. And this even brings up the possibility that the fake sky built around Teyvat is done so to protect Teyvat from being destroyed by the Abyss, like the twins and the Primordial One's home planet. But then a question that arises would be, if the twins were the rulers of this particular home planet, then who exactly was the Primordial One in that world? Yeah, I don't know if you guys are gonna believe this, but the answer to this question is yet again hidden in another winged glider, the Wings of Delicacies. But unfortunately, that topic is a big one and is reserved for another video coming out pretty soon. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and do check out my other content as well, as I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.